The Princess Paradox, issue number 2. That's right, folks. I am thrilled to be back talking about my original comic book. That's right, issue 2 is here. Last year, we put out the first issue of this book, a little bit of a comedical fantasy series that takes place in this, more adult Disney world kind of thing. I just wanted to take the premise of a princess and make it a little more like Veep, is essentially what I'm doing here. Just characters showing up and talking and making weird jokes about each other, and it's just really fun. Issue 2 is now available through Kindle, so if you have a Kindle, you can buy it there for a very reasonable price. And there is a physical copy that you can buy off of Amazon as well, and I encourage you all to do so. This video is going to be breaking down the book a little bit. If you don't want to buy it, I understand, but you are curious to see what I'm up to over here, well, we can break it down for you in this. So if you haven't read the first issue or you haven't seen my review of the first issue, well, it's not really a review, it's more discussion. The premise of the Princess Paradox follows a young girl named Aalya Rain, who is this poverty-stricken girl growing up in the Kingdom of Newcastle. She auditions one day to become the new princess. The previous princess of Newcastle died for eating a poisoned apple. So she says a weird joke in her interview, and the king finds it charming, so he accepts Aalya to be the replacement princess for his son. His son is currently away on the crusades that they are doing, so we see Aalya is spending time with the other princess, Princess Mariana, and Mariana introduces Aalya to the larger world of being a princess, including the magical-based paradoxes that come with it, like you're never going to look ugly, you're going to age differently, you can never get drunk, the kind of just magical stuff that you're going to be a prim, proper young lady for the rest of time. That's where the book ends in the first issue, and this issue is following up on that, and we're seeing a little bit more of how you become a princess and what it means to be a perfect storybook character. So when this issue opens up, we see that Aalya is being fitted for her hair and makeup. There is a hair and makeup department for a princess, and essentially when you figure out what your look's going to be, that's going to be your look forever. Mariana is kind of joking that they got a certain style for her. They want to do something she's a little bit a normal girl, of the earth, maybe a stable girl, something very common and not over the top or eccentric. And the stylist Bolter is yeah, I kind of like that vibe. Let's go for that. Aalya notices this new look and she's I look exactly the same. But Mariana's telling her no, we went with an earthy feel, something soft and approachable, like a girl from the stable. That's how we're going to run it. That's going to be your vibe. And Aalya's my vibe? What does that mean? It's well, we're selling you. You're a product now that people are going to try to consume. We're going to make you an approachable, very modern girl, essentially. And Bolter reveals that Mariana's vibe is the snarky and above it all. So now that they got the hair and makeup figured out, they have to move on to their next thing, which is dress tryouts. And as they leave the bench where we see Aalya sitting, she's still kind of confused, what does it really mean? What did Bolter do to me? She's well, essentially what happened is we just found what you're going to look like for the rest of this chapter of your fairy tale. You're not going to differentiate from this look. Your vibe's going to be this very specific thing. You're not going to change in appearance unless something very meaningful happens to you where you have to change, or something magical happens. Or you go to war, and sometimes when you go to war, you just got to put on something that's not a dress. And Aalya thinks this means she's not going to age, but that's not the case. She's just going to age differently than other people. She's pretty excited by that. And then we hear a couple of knights that are guarding the station that she was at, and they're just wow, she looks very approachable, like someone who grew up working in the stables. Laughing at my own jokes, but that's okay. Anyways, it's time for dress tryouts. So the two princesses head into a big room that is just colorful and bombastic, and I really like the colors in this one. Nadine did an incredible job. Nadine Schultes, who is the artist and colorist on this book. So vibrant. These next pages just look amazing. We are also introduced to the fashion designer, the seamstress of the princesses, Lila. And Lila is this old, half elf, and who knows how long she's been doing this. It's been centuries. And she loves when a poor princess shows up because they always go for the expensive fabrics. And now we're going to have like some dress tryouts. So we're just going to watch for a little bit as Aalya's trying on a couple of dresses. She finds a red one, doesn't really work for her. There's one that's a little too tight, doesn't work for her either. One that is a little too risque, not really her vibe. One that's just the same thing that Mariana's wearing, doesn't like it. And finally, someone asks the question, well, what is it you're looking for in a dress? And Aalya admits, like, oh, I'm looking for something that's, like, not too dark or too bright or anything that's going to draw attention to me. I like to look nice, but not, like, overly complicated. Like, complicated stitching and patterns make me dizzy. And both Mariana and Lila agree that Aalya is a green. And she asks what that means. And it means that a green isn't a traditional color for a princess. So it's an earthy tone. It's considered a poor aesthetic. Not everyone can pull it off, but maybe you can. This was an idea I found very fun. Just like the color of dress you wear as a princess that becomes like your iconic look says something about you. Mariana's in dark blue and she's got the dark hair, so she's just kind of snarky and above it all. Very cold, distancing color, but a green color for Aalya means she's more approachable and comforting. And I think that's a really fun idea. Anyways, we cut to later on that morning because Aalya's brother Aaron is just kind of waking up because a goat walks into like the farm place he's staying in. He's like, oh shit, I'm going to be late. So he's frantically trying to get dressed. He's running towards the castle and he trips on a rock. And that's when Captain Trainer of the Knight's Guard watches him and laughs as he falls. We'll cut back to Aaron in a bit here, but I love this stuff. I really love the goat in this panel. It makes me really happy. I really like this character. I think it's really important to have just like the comedic sidekick who can show up and be silly because the other girls have stuff going on. We just need some random guy. Anyways, now that we have Aalya in what's going to be her standard dress, which is the green that we've seen her in before, we are trying to figure out what the next stage is. All of this is happening today. The hair and makeup, the dress tryouts, because she has to go do the indoctrination ceremony to show that she's the new princess of Newcastle. And they give a scroll to the person that's going to like read out the speech to introduce Aalya to the people. And as that's going on, Aalya is kind of panicking. She's like, I've never talked to this many people before. Whenever we leave the house, I'll let my brother do all the talking. And Mariana tells her, you should never let a man talk for you. She thinks she's going to vomit, but Mariana reminds her that a princess can't vomit. You're just kind of nervous. Once you get to the balcony, everything's going to be okay. Aalya's still kind of panicked. Not really sure if she can do this. She's kind of worried that they're going to hate her because she's a commoner and doesn't really understand the things that she's a part of now. And Mariana's like, name one person who hates a princess. To which Aalya replies, you're the only princess I know and I can't tell if anyone likes you. So then we cut back with Aaron, who is going to the ceremony. He shows up to like the crowd. There's only a couple people because no one's really into princesses anymore, as Mariana points out earlier. It's just like a formality thing, but commoners, they've kind of moved on to like the new hotness. It's not really a princess or royal folk, which is just kind of true. Who's talking about Harry and Meghan anymore? Anyways, we are introduced to Princess Aalya, and she is shoved onto the balcony, and she's waving down to the crowd like, hi, it's nice to meet you. No one seems that impressed until her brother's going, woo, woo, that's my sister, let's go. And then somebody asks, what happened to the old princess? It's like, I guess she died? Then we see a new woman join the crowd. This is Miss Crosif, and Miss Crosif is a family friend to Aalya and her brother, and she is surprised to see Aalya up on the balcony. Like, what are you doing up there? I'm the new princess. What? My girl, I remember washing your bottom as a baby. You were always so filthy, playing in the mud like a pig. And everyone's kind of like, oh shit, did Miss Crosif just call the princess a pig? A couple of the guards like aim their spears at her, like, shall we execute her, princess? And Aalya's like, no, don't execute her. Don't do anything. They're like, but she called you a pig. She's like, no, she didn't call me a pig. She's like, can we just like get her to leave, like send her away? And the knights are like, all right, banishment it is. Let's go. So within the first couple minutes of being introduced as the princess, Aalya got her parents' oldest friend banished from Newcastle. We then just cut to later, where Aalya is face down in a pillow and Mariana and Aaron are there, and she's trying to get him to pour more wine into her glass, but Aaron's like, I'm not going to do that for you. Don't call me a squire. we set up in the last issue as well that Aaron is going to be the squire for Aalya and Mariana. And you just see Aalya still kind of upset because she realized she has to do like another ceremony. She just did one. She just did this one. But the next ceremony she has to go to that day is for the real movers and shakers of the realms. This one was just for the common people. You showed up, you did your thing. Now you are going to see who's really in charge of the realms and everything. And Aalya asks if Mariana's going to be there with her, to which she goes, nope, sorry, I have other engagements. I got some stuff I got to do at the Princess Bar. And she's like, what's the Princess Bar? To which Mariana goes, well, you're still kind of young, but oh well, I guess I could show you. And we see that Mariana starts to sing in a perfect pitch, and the Rain siblings have no idea what that means. And then suddenly, in the middle of the room emerges a big magical door that is made of the colors of Mariana's dress. And Aalya's like, what is happening? To which she says, just learn to adapt and come with me. So Mariana drags Aalya through the door, leaving Aaron behind, and they go deep into the Princess Bar. And this is another just random idea I had. You are a princess of magical power. How do you get away just to be with other princesses and enjoy your time? Well, you summon a magical door and it takes you to a bar. And at the bar, you meet Artie, and Artie is the knight who is serving them. He owns the bar. So there you go, a black knight that's serving alcohol and food and bevies to these princesses. Very fun. Anyways, there's a reserved table for Mariana that she's about to sit down to when we hear a voice call out to her like, is that Mariana of Newcastle? And this is where we are introduced to our first and primary sidekick of the book, Dirk the Otter. Now, if you are a fan of princess stories, specifically some that involve Disney characters, there is always a talking animal sidekick, or just an animal sidekick in general. This is Dirk. He is an otter, and he is friends of Mariana. And now he is here because he finally escaped the wicked stepmom that trapped him in a castle because they thought that he was a cat. So he's here now, meet Mariana, and this is when Aalya learns another part of the paradox that is being a princess, is that you can understand certain animals, and one of them is Dirk. And he's like, hey, nice to meet you, you're a lucky girl, getting Mariana as your guide, she's pretty cool. Pretty cool girl. So then Mariana orders some drinks, and they're just going to chill for a minute. Mariana explains what she's doing and why she has engagements at the bar. And as that's going on, Aalya thinks she's having a panic attack, but Mariana reminds her a princess doesn't panic. Anyways, she's here, Mariana that is, to meet her friend Fedalina, and they were trying like this special elixir thing with like tree root, and today's the day they're going to test out their magical concoction. So in order to calm her nerves, Aalya is going to take a drink. She has never really had anything other than water before in her life, so she takes this drink that is placed at the table in front of her. And suddenly, she starts to freak out. Her eyes start to glow. The world around her starts to sparkle. And she calls Mariana like, what's happening? That's when Mariana reveals like, oh, I think you grabbed my drink. I have like a little weird mix in there that's like made to bypass the paradox's effects. Like it's going to get you a little messed up. And then a magical butterfly clock shows up and tells Mariana that, oh, look at the time. You're going to have to go now to your like other ceremony, Aalya. Hey, Artie, can we get this kid some water and get her through the door? And as that's happening, you see Dirk is like, should we do something for this girl? Like, she doesn't look very good. It's like, it's just a royal announcement ceremony. They won't even notice. But Dirk's like, I think I'm going to keep an eye on her. Like, something's got to happen. I love it. This is probably, I don't know. I love this interaction because it's exactly what I want Dirk and Mariana's relationship to be. Two old friends who are just like, I know what you are. I know what you are. You don't seem worried, but you're going to let me do this anyway. Mariana's like, you're a softie for a new princess. And Dirk's like, well, have fun if you're old one. I could smell the tree root from here. And then Fedalina shows up and they're ready to party, having a couple drinks. And it's just really, really cute. So then we cut to a few minutes later where Aalya is still tripping on her weird poison drink. And we see that the councilman from the first issue makes his return. And he's like, all right, go through these doors and you'll just meet all like the movers and shakers of the realms. And Dirk shows up with Aalya to be like, these things don't really matter. They're just like formality and everything. And she's like, oh man, you followed me? He's like, yeah, let's not make a big deal out of it, okay? It never hurts to have some help in these situations. And, I did major in princess anxiety at the Academy for Magical Creatures. And Alya's like, you really did? He's like, nah, I flunked out for stealing too many love potions. Anyways, it's time, ladies and lords of the realms. May I introduce Aalya Rain of Newcastle, the princess. And then we see a time lapse of everything that happens while Aalya is meeting the real movers and shakers of the realms. So the first minute she goes in, her and Dirk are together. They get inside. They meet a couple of like royals that are like obsessed with like her dark skin. We meet Zini, who's the Lord of Ape and Ape Kind, who's really interested in the way Aalya smells. She is saved from eating a cake made of rocks. We are then introduced to a beautiful Amazonian woman who is super giant, and Alya's like, oh, that's cool. I've never heard of an island only made of women. She's like, yeah, you'd be a desirable concubine. She's like, oh. Hour goes by and we are introduced to an ogre, and the ogre is passing Aalya a totem of great importance to his people. Once accepted, our paths will be forever entwined. And it's a little stick, so she takes it. And then a couple hours pass again. She meets a princess who's like, I wish I could wear green, but they said I was too high-strung. Couple more minutes pass, and somebody thinks that Dirk is a cat, to which he says, I'm not a cat. Couple more minutes pass, and someone's trying to get the princess to accept the Lord Darklon as their savior. And she's like, I gotta go. So she's panicking, just getting really stressed out. She slams the door behind her, and she's like, okay, what was that thing that Mari did? So she tries to sing. She doesn't get the right pitch. And then as she finally figures it out, the door to the princess bar opens in front of Aalya, and she can walk inside. And it is colored to her own dress, which is something I wanted to play with. Another thing I really like, and this was added by our artist Nadine, was Fedalina is also wearing green, meaning she's more like of the earth and all that kind of stuff. I think it's really fun. I like the idea that Mariana is the only one in blue and everyone around her is a little more like nice than her and a little more approachable. So we cut back to the princess bar and we see that Fedalina and Mariana are still there. Fedalina is like saying something about how like most people think you need to be a prince to be turned into an animal, but I kissed a turtle one time and I swear I started to move slower. And then Aalya walks in and Mariana gets her spirits lifted up, and it's like, I mean, they just kept coming and coming. There were so many people and so many realms. There were so many realms. And like this ape guy smelled weird. And this green guy gave me a stick. And there was this really tall lady. And she was beautiful. But she'd probably kill me, right? It's like, yeah, Calissa would kill you. Yeah. And Fedalina's like, wait, you accepted a stick from a green guy? And they're like, yeah, I did. Was he wearing like a green cloak? And had like skull earrings? And it's like, yeah. Oh, no. And they're like, oh, no. What's oh, no? And she's like, that's Olbrun, the ogre, Warmeister. He goes to all these events to try to get someone to accept his challenge. And it was like, challenge? Nobody said anything about challenge. She's like, yeah, well, I hate to say it, but you accepted their war scepter and you just sent Newcastle to war with the ogre folk. And that's where the book ends, with Mariana looking to Artie being like, hey, we're going to need another round of the strong stuff. And that is the end of issue 2, which, yes, it is setting up an issue 3, which we are hopefully going to get to by the end of this year. I'm paying for this book all out of my own pocket, so it takes a little bit of time, but I'm really happy with the results. Now, me just explaining what happens in the book doesn't really do it justice. The artwork is incredible. There's some really clever jokes, in my opinion. I know I wrote it. But for this being my second attempt at writing a comic book, I'm still figuring out the medium, and I'm really, really proud of what we had made here, and I'm super happy that people are seemingly enjoying it. I like it, and I'm proud of this book, and yeah, looks like Aalya just sent Newcastle to war with the ogre folk. It's fun. You just got to set up some other characters in here with talking animal sidekicks, some more princesses, and some more magical stuff. This issue might just, set up, but I like it still, and I'm proud of it, and I hope you all give it a read. If not, thank you for watching this video. We do end every issue giving you a little bit of explanation to who the characters are, so we have like some backstory for Dirk, Princess Fedelina, and Lilla. If you are interested, you can read that in the back of the book. But if not, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.